Set up. Like 20 minutes.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to convene the board meeting for February 19th. Letty, you want to take roll?
President Russ,
Here.
Vice President Lane,
Here attending remotely.
Director Smalley,
Here.
and Director Foltz.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. So before we go into our closed session, well, I guess, well, first, Jason, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the closed session agenda.
Okay. And then we can have public comments on items that we will be talking about in the closed session. So, Kim? Okay.
I'm just gonna read this, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget anything. So on November 24th, Monday morning, I went to look at and potentially buy a new/used 2008 Lexus. The woman who was selling the car is an acquaintance of mine. She told me that she had it detailed over the weekend by a friend of hers who does that kind of work. The car was immaculate inside and out. I examined both the inside and the outside of the car. It was in great shape, aside from a couple of small dents on the roof, hood, and front bumper where they had hit a deer. Other than that, there were some minor nicks and scratches, but nothing that stood out. I bought the car there and then drove it to Boulder Creek. I parked it on Highway 9, inches from where the water main broke the next morning. I went to work at Bowser Bass, just down the block from where I parked the car. After work, I was going to move the car close to my shop, but there was no parking, so I left it where it was. I live behind my shop, so it remained in that spot overnight. November 25th, Tuesday morning, I was in my shop working, and around 11 or 12, I don't remember the exact time, I went outside for some air and saw machinery and tons of dust in the air where my car was parked. I ran down there and saw that the water department had dug up a strip of asphalt approximately 6 inches from the rear of my car. I briefly inspected it, but it was so full of dust and dirt I couldn't see anything. I must admit that I was annoyed that none of the workers went to the shops inquiring as to whose car it was, so it could be moved or made an effort to cover it with a tarp or something to protect it. Especially since it was a nice car and not an old junker like my last vehicle. I ran back to work and got my keys and parked it down the block in front of my shop and went back to work. It remained there overnight. November 26th, Wednesday, late afternoon, and after work, I drove the car over to a friend's to wash it so it would be clean for Thanksgiving the next day. That's when I saw the spray of new nicks across the right side of the car and the drip lines embedded in the paint going down the rear bumper. November 27th, Thursday, was Thanksgiving, so the water department was closed, as well as Friday, November 28th. December 1st, Monday, I went to the water department and filled out a claim form, and here we are. I assume you are aware of the rest. Also, Jason and Leah came out and looked at the damage and took photos. And I just want to reiterate that I think it was extremely negligent of the employees who did the work not to take some kind of precaution to protect the car that was in such close proximity to a potentially damaging construction job. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Anybody else online, Scott? Okay. Then we will adjourn for the closed session. And we'll reconvene for its That time?
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to reconvene the board meeting, 6:30 on the 19th of February. Leigh, you want to take a roll?
President Russ,
Yep.
Vice President Lane,
Here.
Director Smalley,
Here.
and Director Foltz.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's, there were, report from the closed session, no reportable, actions taken on, either item at the closed session. And, any changes to the agenda?
Yes, item 10A is being pulled from the agenda and being assigned to an ad hoc committee. Made up of you, President, and Director Foltz.
Okay. Would any directors like to discuss that?
I would,
Okay,
No,
yes. I like the idea. The question I have is, what's your thought from there? What are you coming back to us as a board with? Because I have comments on some of the items that are in here.
The thought is that it gives an opportunity to have the concerns addressed,
Mhm.
embedded in a situation that's allowing them more time to
Mhm.
address each concern,
Okay,
and then bring that back to the board as a completed
okay,
policy manual.
okay.
Yeah. or at
Um,
least furthered along and then bring it back to the board for, right,
Review.
any other
Right.
review
Okay.
and discussion.
okay,
Right.
so for the items that I have to comment on, it sounds like I table those until the next one because I can't share them with
No,
either of these individuals, and I don't think passing them on to you is appropriate at this point. So, okay, all right. Well then,
All right. Alina, did you have any thoughts or, comments?
I don't know how much we can comment on this, since it's not, since it's getting pulled, but I guess I'm just kind of confused by all of this. It's gone through the admin committee for edits, and last time I felt like we had, it was gonna pass, but then we wanted to be able to hear Director Foltz's comments, and so we paused. We heard his comments, and I just feel like I don't understand. And also, Director Foltz has been removed from all of the committees, and now it's like two ad hoc committees that he's going back on. So I guess I'm just confused about all of that.
Yeah, let me make a comment myself. I know the admin committee has put in tons of effort into the policy manual as well as staff and legal counsel, and it's greatly appreciated. Director Foltz in the first round back in September had, I think, 125 comments. And as I recall, staff and legal actually ended up accepting over 70 of those for modifications in the manual. So I think we're trying to be responsive. But then in the most recent version, Director Foltz, I think, has come back with another 60 or 70 comments. And I guess I had thought that maybe as a matter of efficiency, perhaps he and I can sit down and maybe go through a lot of these and see if we can't come to some compromise or meeting of the minds, working with Jason, and then come back to the full board with I guess Rev 3 of the manual for further discussion.
Yeah.
That was kind of what was going through my mind, Alina. I know obviously because of the Brown Act, we couldn't I couldn't have this discussion with you one-on-one ourselves, right? So I apologize for it having to be sprung here at the public board meeting. But those were my thoughts. I'm hoping you think that this is at least a plausible way to proceed to try to get the manual wrapped up. And
I don't think I really have a choice, so go right ahead.
okay. All right. Any other thoughts from Jason or other directors? No? Okay. So we are tabling 10A. Hopefully we'll be able to circle back around pretty quickly and get that done. A lot of work has gone into it. And then I think we had one other agenda change, right? Which is 10F, the amended, I don't know if that needs to be put into the record now.
Well, that,
No.
it's not, it's
No.
still on the agenda. It's an
Not if we're
amended
pulling
motion.
it, not if we're
Oh.
not,
He'll make the amended
we're
motion.
gonna talk about it.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay. All right.
No, it's during the motion.
Then we're moving to new business 10B. And who's taking that on? Jesse,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, well, before I get started, I do want to point out that the do not exceed amount for this that is noted in my memo has been increased from $104,398 to $112,289. After further investigation, staff determined that the additional $7,900 will be needed to cover all permitting and engineering costs associated with this project. With that, I'll get started. The purpose of this agenda item is to recommend that the board approve the proposed contract with Mountain Service Company to replace the generator and upgrade the electrical service at the district's facility located at 15850 Forest Hill Drive in Boulder Creek, also known as the meter shop. The existing generator at this facility is 40 years old and has experienced ongoing mechanical issues. This generator is critical to maintaining reliable drinking water and wastewater operations. Additionally, the current PG&E service requires upgrades to meet current PG&E standards and to accommodate future facility improvements. Staff is recommending the proposed contract for Mountain Service Company for several reasons. Their proposal was the most cost-effective of the three received. In addition, their thorough assessment, which included a power study of the facility's operations, resulted in the addition of a power factor correction system, which will optimize the facility's performance and help prevent potential damage. This project is included in the approved 2026 capital improvement budget. Because this facility serves both drinking water and wastewater customers, project costs will be allocated accordingly as detailed in my memo. Before I get started, I would like to address a few questions that have come up since the agenda was published. The first question is, what did the request for proposal or RFP specify? This question was raised due to the wide variance in scope of work among the three proposals. No formal RFP was published for this project. Instead, contractors were required to attend an on-site visit with district staff to review and discuss the project scope. Staff intentionally provided flexibility in the proposal process and encouraged contractors to use their expertise to identify and recommend any upgrades or improvements they believed were appropriate. A good example of this is the power factor correction system proposed by Mountain Service Company. The next question is, are there already existing propane tanks at this site? And if so, can we reuse them instead of leasing new ones? No, there are no existing propane tanks at this site. The current generator is fueled by diesel. Staff prefers to transition to propane for this facility because propane produces lower emission, which in turn will allow the district to avoid permitting requirements from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. Another question was, one of the proposals received includes an engineering design package, but the Mountain Service Company proposal does not. How is this being addressed? Staff does not believe a full engineering design package is necessary for this project, particularly given the high cost for the service. However, Mountain Service Company's proposal includes an option to facilitate and obtain all required permits, including any engineering needed as part of that process. This will include a required electrical wiring diagram for the upgrade. Staff believes this level of documentation will be sufficient and will support any future work at this site. This service is being offered at an hourly basis, and staff estimates the total cost will not exceed $10,000. The additional $10,000 is included in the proposed do not exceed amount of $112,289. Next question is, will Mountain Service Company cover all necessary inspections? Yes. Mountain Service Company will coordinate with PG&E and district staff to facilitate all required inspections. They will also conduct a generator startup with district staff to ensure the system is operating properly. In addition, Mountain Service Company will provide a 1-year parts and labor warranty. Another question brought up is confirming the power correction system configuration, specifically whether the correction system will only correct the generator or if it will also correct the other loads on the circuit. Staff has confirmed that each of the main loads on the facility circuits will have its own dedicated power correction system. This includes the Bear Creek tank boosters, the air compressors at the Bear Creek wastewater pneumatic lift station, and the boosters at the Bear Creek wastewater pump station. Another concern raised was the proposed contract did not include a maintenance plan. The district has an in-house generator maintenance plan that is facilitated by the district's electrician. Additionally, the district has a generator contractor on standby to assist with any troubleshooting or repairs that are beyond staff's capabilities. This contractor has worked with the district for over 20 years and has consistently provided excellent service at a fair price. Lastly, I would like to point out that Mountain Service has been a well-regarded company in our community for over 40 years. Staff has reached out to several references and the feedback received was positive. With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Jesse. Alina, do you have any questions for Jesse?
No, that was very thorough. Thank you, Jesse. I think this is something that's long overdue to be replaced so we can, maintain our service up there at Bear Creek Estates. So thank you for going through the work and getting this upgraded. And I think it's a great idea to switch over to propane too as well. And we talked about that at the last meeting when this was brought up, but I think that's a really great plan. So thank you.
Thank you. Bob?
Yeah, thanks. Just for disclosure, I know Rich, and he's worked on my house off and on for 35 years. So and has done a really good job for me personally. So there you go.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I think I wasn't one of his first customers, but I was fairly early. My primary concern is the generator. This is a different brand, as I understand. And when I look at the data sheet for this particular one, it's the lowest end model in that family. Given the critical nature of this that you described in your memo, I've just had some concerns about that. Generac is mostly known for their residential market, not so much for their industrial or heavy commercial market. I don't know if we would classify ourselves as heavy, but in terms of reliability, I think we're definitely up in the needing 4.9 type situation. And is Generac going to be able to deliver that?
Yeah, I believe they will. This generator was vetted through a member of the engineering committee that gave a thumbs up. I would also like to note, we have about 25 generators in our system and 22 of them are Generacs. But, I do agree the Cummins are a little more industrial.
Yes, they are.
But I think with proper maintenance and upkeep, this generator.
What would be the difference in cost if we were to go with the Cummins instead of this? I mean, by the way, I did look at the other proposal. It wasn't clear which one, who was the second vendor?
Triad.
No, Cupertino.
Cupertino Electric. Yeah.
And I didn't see a specific.
Yeah, that was the high end. I couldn't tell what generator they were proposing.
I didn't find the specific generator in their proposal, and
Yeah,
I didn't ask just based on the price.
yeah, it was pretty high end, right?
The closer one, Triad, was a Generac as well.
Okay, so
We've installed a few new Generacs recently. Quell 5 or Quell 5 Well has a Generac. Not so new, but our Lompico booster is Generac. So
and how long have they been in service, and how many times have they clicked on, and what's the maintenance been on?
Yeah, we maintain them once a month. We do our generator reads, and so we do we exercise them and check the oil and all that. We haven't had any issues with those particular ones.
And are they the same size? Are they smaller? Are they larger?
They're a little smaller. The one at Quell Booster, I think, is closer to one. I don't remember exactly, but about half the size. And the one at Quell 5 is about the same size.
A couple other hopefully easier questions. The 110 connections, does that include people outside of the Bear Creek Estates area then?
Yeah, so the 110 connections are the drinking water customers.
Yeah.
And then the 56 would be the wastewater. Of course, all of those 56 wastewater customers are also drinking water customers.
Well, that's why I'm asking, is there's 56 in Bear Creek Estates, is the other 54 outside of Bear Creek Estates?
Yes, of the wastewater system, yes.
Well, for the water outside of Bear Creek. Estates.
They are in the Bear Creek pressure zone, so I would have to refer to the map, but
They're served by the generator.
But they're served by the.
Yeah, they're served by the
generator. They're just not in the Bear Creek Estates proper subdivision.
yeah, I think that's the best way to say it.
Okay, well, I appreciate your comments on it, and certainly from a price point of view, it's good, but we don't have a lot of margin for error here, so I hope this one works out well as well. Because I'd hate to go back to the Bear Creek Estates people and say, oops, we went for the cheaper generator and we get to do it twice.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Mark?
Sure. Bob, to address your question about the Generac and something that Jesse alluded to, Francis Cleveland is on the engineering committee. And I sent this memo along with the 3 proposals to her to solicit her opinion on it. Francis is
Yeah. No,
in
Francis
the power system, electrical engineer.
Yeah, I get it.
Generac 480 kW is a well-established and reliable brand, is her comment back to me.
Okay. All right.
And she had a number of other comments, some questions that I already vetted with Jesse, and that's part of his responses too. So based on that, I have one follow-up question based on what you just said. The additional 7,900 that you are telling us you're adding to that, what other permits have you identified that are necessary that Mountain States, I'm not clear because it seemed like they had an allocation in there for permits at 2,100.
That was a number I came up with. That was
That's kind of that's about what I paid when I redid my house.
Which 2,100.
it wasn't a well-informed number I put out originally. After some more investigation, I realized we needed to be
Okay, so you established the 21.
I did.
And then in subsequent discussions with him,
Yes.
you're saying 79 is is that a firm fixed, and no matter what the permits cost, or is that on a time of materials and whatever the permit cost is?
Yeah, no, it's an hourly basis. So he estimated it to be less than 10,000, maybe closer to 5,000 to 7,500.
Right.
But I
Okay.
wanted to give ourselves a little cushion. So, if it
Okay.
does come in at 5,000, it would be 5,000 less.
Well, based on what you just said, Bob, no, 21's not the right number.
Yeah.
Right.
No, not for this size.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's all for the questions I have on it then. Okay,
Great.
Yeah.
I also greatly appreciate the extra detail that you provided. It's been very helpful. And I've actually have read pretty encouraging things about Generac's moving into larger commercial and the industrial space over the last 5 years. So I'm comfortable with them as well. But all about maintenance.
Yeah.
Right. If there's no other comments from the board or anyone remote, Scott?
Their hand up.
No, okay. Yes, Bob.
We just got someone with their hand up. David Spalding.
Oh, okay. David, would you like to make some comments on this?
Oh, sorry, not on that. I had a question. So is there time at the end of the meeting for questions?
Or the generator
No, a different subject.
on the agenda?
I have a concern that I've tried to get a will serve letter, and Joel from the district, he suggested attending a board meeting and putting in my request on the board. I'm not used to doing this kind of thing, so I just I'm just following what he suggested. So I wasn't sure what the appropriate time was to ask my question.
Public comment unfortunately has already passed.
But
I've been on here since six.
It's up to the board.
he contact you,
Yeah, you can contact me,
right?
but my understanding is you've already contacted district staff.
No, who are you? I'm sorry.
I'm the general manager. So yeah, if you want to reach out to me tomorrow at work, I'll talk to you. We can probably get on a future agenda.
I'm sorry. Are you Garrett?
I'm Jason. Garrett is our engineering manager. I'm the general manager.
I have a hearing problem. So your name's Jason?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Okay, Bob, you had a,
Yeah, so that just triggered something though when I was thinking about the generator. So when we were looking at getting a generator done at our house, Santa Cruz County in their infinite wisdom will not accept the manufacturer's OEM engineering of the pad or the infrastructure for the generator. You have to go spend another 5 to 7K or more to get a custom design.
Yeah.
Are we looking at having to do that here?
They're gonna use the existing.
Can we use the existing one?
Yeah.
Okay.
just anchor it in.
And and we don't have to go to the county for their permission on that, right?
As, maybe Jason can help me out with this, but
Yeah, we're a self-inspecting
Yeah.
agency.
Right.
Okay.
And
Thank
weight
goodness.
wise, generator to generator, probably similar enough.
I think that Cummins was a beast.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it
it's,
should fit.
Yeah,
it's
probably
too
much bigger,
small.
right?
but the pad is structurally,
Yeah, it's
Cummings is weight wise much more than this one's gonna be.
It's a pretty
sufficient for
beefy
bringing
pad,
this
yeah. It's-
a
Now, the two 500-gallon propane tanks, they're going to take a little additional, little bigger footprint, but we have enough.
Yeah, there's enough room in that yard.
There's enough room.
And who's our propane supplier?
It is, overall it's Dassel's, but for this site, it will be, Mountain Service because
I thought
Either-
so.
we're leasing them, like $200 a year.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good
All right.
price.
Yeah, okay, sounds good, thank you. I knew Rich was offered a deal.
He's thinking business.
I am comfortable with, because we are doing 2 500-gallon tanks, that if we are in a pinch, we'll have plenty of storage.
I have Rich for propane and he's always done well for that, yeah.
All right. I certainly assume they've sized the 500 to be able to provide enough propane at different temperatures for the 50
yeah.
kW. Okay.
I specifically asked for a little bit extra sizing, just,
Okay.
Bear Creek Road is closed a lot of times, and I don't want to get in a situation where they can't get out there for a day or two.
Okay. And by chance, do you have any idea of how long would that 1,000 gallons last if we just had to keep running it?
Nonstop running,
Yeah, I mean, I know they take gallons per hour at
Yeah.
that size. I just curious if you knew.
it's kind of one of those, you gotta see it in action and then get a better idea.
Yeah.
I would guess 1 to 2 days. It may be a little longer. I'm hoping for, 2 to 3 days, but that's a conservative guess.
Okay.
I want 48 hours to be the minimum, so
Is that the minimum?
that's the target.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Any other discussion?
I see we do
Yep.
have.
Legal has their hand up.
Gage, please.
Not to interrupt on this particular matter, but just following up on the public comment, I did want to make sure that we did have a time for public comment generally, not specific to individual items, because we are required to allow members of the public to comment on any item within the board's jurisdiction, even items not on the agenda. So I did want to make sure that we left time for that, and I did not see it on our agenda today.
Item 8 on the
Yeah.
agenda, oral communications.
Yeah, and we actually did have one member of the public speak to the board when we first opened up.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, that was
On
closed.
closed
That was
session.
during the closed session. Yes,
Yeah.
just before. Yeah, sorry.
So you took that before closed session?
So there's communication before closed session for items on the closed session agenda, and there's communication before open session for items not on the open session agenda.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure we called it.
We did.
We
Okay,
did.
perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you. All All right. Moving on to the next item.
No.
Oh, sorry. No, right. We got
I'll make
business
the
to do.
motion that the board directs the general manager to execute the contract agreement with Mountain Service Company not to exceed
112,289.
$100,000,
Well,
$112,000 and
289.
289. Authorizes the general manager to execute non-substantive modifications as necessary. Adopt a resolution amending the wastewater fund budget and adopt the resolution amending the 2026 capital improvement budget.
I'll second.
I do have a concern though. And that is, I'm sorry, maybe I missed this, but were the resolutions in the agenda?
I thought so.
Oh, my mistake.
Oh, really? I thought it
I
was.
did not see, and I don't know that we are allowed to vote on a resolution. We can certainly do the contract and the amendment, but I do not believe we can do the resolution without it being in the agenda packet.
I agree with Bob. Yes, we should have that with us. So I will amend my motion to cover only points 1 and 2.
Second that.
Okay. So we have a revised motion in front of us.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Foltz.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Please bring the resolution.
Okay.
Yep.
So
So
just for clarity, you will have to, for the amendment that was proposed
Yes,
at the next.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. Am I now back on cue?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. All right, now let's move on to the South Pipeline Survey Award. Okay, here.
Yes, so thank you, President. The matter before the board is to award the South Zone Pipeline Survey. Staff is recommending to go with the low bidder for the survey, Dudek, in the amount not to exceed $41,660. We did receive 4 bids. If you go to page 112 of the packet, it indicates the firm, the total bid, and the proposed timeline. As you can see, as the proposed timeline increases, the total bid cost increases. We ask the professionals to estimate what they think the survey will cost. And so for that reason, the numbers vary just depending on how much time they estimate it will take them to complete the survey. Dudek includes a helicopter scan for the survey, as well as site survey with a prism and a laser and all the total station. If you go to page 113 of the packet, it has an exhibit that was provided to bidders. You can see a green line. This was a pipeline that was established immediately after the CZU fire. This pipeline got people back in water. However, it's not established in the right of way. It's essentially trespassing on private property. And so what staff is recommending is that we establish the pipeline in the right of way where possible. Where we have to cross into private property, we gain easements from the property owners. We upsize the pipe to the minimum of 8-inch diameter per district standards. We connect all services along the way to the new pipeline and install fire hydrants as part of the pipeline project. In order to design the pipeline, first thing we need to do is have a survey that is essentially a map showing where the property boundaries are, where the right of way is, where existing infrastructure is located, and then we can make the engineering plans. And with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Okay. Why don't we start, Mark? you like to? take-
Sure. At least two of the other survey firms have done work for us in the past, including Sandus. Is Dudek leaving something out that the others are providing, or why are the others
It's the LiDAR.
more than twice?
Well, it could just be Dudek is optimistic that they could complete this project in 4 weeks.
Right?
Yeah, I would caution the board that anytime we do a professional services agreement.
Yeah.
It's essentially a time and materials contract, which means that they have a not to exceed amount. They have to bill us based on the staff that's providing the services, amount of time that staff spends providing that service, and they get done as much as they can, for the not to exceed price. Sometimes they could finish at a price less than the not to exceed price. If it turns out that they bill all the way up to the not to exceed price, they might absorb the extra costs just to have goodwill with the district. They thought they could do it for $41,660, and they want to do future work with us, and they need another $2,000 to finish up. They might just absorb those costs.
So has Dudek done other surveying for us?
I'm not aware that Dudek has done other surveying for the district, but Dudek is an international company, so they are providing grant writing services for us.
Right. That's where I recognize the name from then. Okay.
I think they provide all kinds of services. That's a very large company.
Okay. Well, if you've reviewed their, I've reviewed their proposal. I don't see what's glaringly left out, but okay. That's the only question I have on it then. Okay.
Bob?
Well, like you, Mark, I look at something like that and I immediately get red flags flying up all over the place because there's something off here.
But I go through it. It's like, why not?
Well,
Isn't the
What I
big
don't-
difference that they're doing LiDAR? The others aren't.
what I don't want to see as a big change order come back to the board. I get the T&M basis of this. And I think actually Dudek might have been on survey in the past. Can't remember. But if they come back with a big change order, that basically says to me, you can't trust them again for any work in the future.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I would say
Okay.
recently we've done some surveys with Powell, and we
Right.
could entertain their bid of 79,000.
Well, we did that once before when Towel did offer the LiDAR service, I think, built in, and the other one did,
Yeah,
and they could start faster than
Right.
the other one.
Right.
I'm not willing to do that for $38,000,
I don't see the reason
but
to do
but
it
I
either.
but I'm hoping, Garrett and Jason, you manage these guys so that there's not some huge change order that comes back.
understood.
So, just a couple other, one comment, one question. Is this part of a larger FEMA project where we're gonna get stymied on reimbursement because we have to wait for, 3 other projects to finish?
Yeah,
It is part of the FEMA project, but I don't believe it's tied in with any.
I believe we are advancing this project so that we can get reimbursed on other projects that are already finished.
Right.
My recollection is
Is this the
this
last one?
This one is tied in with the Bennett, the Bennett Creek or the Bennett Springs, one that you've already told us.
It's stymied.
No, we put in above ground line ourselves for $7,000, and we don't need the rest of that money for that one. This is what the south one was tied in with, my recollection, and that if we do the south one, we can recover that money, and that's what we were recommending. We're saying, hey, should we do what you're proposing here?
Right, originally
And
they
that-
brought
and
they
that-
brought it back to the board to consider removing it.
Yeah,
And the board
and
directed
that
us to-
closes out this.
That closes out the project.
This
Yes.
one would close out the
Okay,
project.
so that's
Right.
good. So we're not stymied. Well,
No.
this won't stymie. This will actually help us move things along faster.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes,
Um,
my recollection on that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good
Mhm.
because I don't want to leave pipes above ground. We talked about that
We
before.
can get
The other question is on 6 versus 8. So we had a conversation about this earlier in terms of, do we really need to be doing 8? For things, because when we look at our capital improvement program, I had gone in with upgrading most of it to 8, but we had talked about maybe having 6.
Like I said, I mean, 8 is obviously the fire flow standard, but if we have areas of town that we have concerns about water quality because we're upsizing all these mains to 8, we don't see the usage. 6 makes sense.
Okay, well, 6 is still minimal for fire flow, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. And then the last things, I always get confused about South Zone versus South System. Is it possible to rename this maybe to Brookdale or something? Because when I see South, I immediately think Scotts Valley.
Yeah, I don't know the geography enough to name it.
Elder Road. Alba.
It's going
Alba
to
Zone.
continue to be confused going forward then, because half of the people here will remember what you just requested and the new name. The other half will keep referencing it to whatever this is right now.
The board sets the name, right?
I don't,
So I think that's historical, because back when Boulder Creek was just the system, they were picking up.
it's still, I'm sorry, it's still the cross-country pipeline.
It's crazy. Anyway, we don't have to cover it tonight,
Right.
but please fix the.
Let us finish the
vocabulary.
project and then we can talk about the name.
About the name.
Yeah,
Okay.
it confuses people.
Are you good, Bob?
I'm good.
All right. Lena.
Yeah, I really like that they're doing the helicopter as well as the total station, because we really need that with all the tree cover that we have in here. And I had my other comment that, Dudek is our grant writer, and I just wanted to make sure that that they are performing well over there. I don't know if Chris is here. I can't see all the way to the side of the table. Everything's going well.
Off topic.
Yeah, generally, we honestly haven't utilized their services very much. But they did review the work that we did for the CAL FIRE grant that we were awarded. So I guess on that front, yeah, they've done well, but yeah, it hasn't been too involved so far.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, since we're all this change order topic and we had some firsthand knowledge here, since we do have them as a contractor, but I know they've contracted with a lot of people in the area, so they seem to be doing good work. And I met their biologists at SRF actually, and they were in the LiDAR room. So it seems like they prioritize continuing education in this area. So I hope that they'll do good work. So that's all.
Yeah, to add on to what Chris was saying, we're basically using Dudek on an as-needed basis for reviewing grants.
That's T&M then, or on an as-needed basis. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Lena. If I read the bids correctly, the only one that calls out the LiDAR, the helicopter with LiDAR and the RGB ortho imagery is Dudek. I did not see that in the others, and it seemed like the others were doing traditional, on boots on the ground, surveying.
Yeah, I think one of them had a drone LiDAR they were proposing to use.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, next with a helicopter.
Yeah, I mean, 1 foot contours and 1 inch resolution everywhere is astounding. Just amazing to me. So I mean, if that's the way it's going, that's kind of a game changer for surveying. And then they're going to, on the ground, they'll identify major, monuments and corners and things like that. So it's a great price. And so I guess, assuming we don't get change orders that they can really do this, that'd be very, very impressive. So I'm all in.
Thank you.
And you're still confident.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other comments from directors? No. Any comments from the public? Okay. All right. Do we actually have a resolution for this? A motion? Okay.
I'll move that the board directs the general manager to execute the professional services agreement for survey of the South Zone pipeline in an amount not to exceed $41,660.
No second.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Foltz.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to 10D, the Redwood Echo construction contract. Garrett, that's back with you.
Yes, thank you, President Russ. So the matter before the board is the award of the construction contract for the Redwood Park and Echo tanks replacements. The district received a Department of Water Resources grant for the amount of 4.5 million with a $1.5 million match for a total of $6 million. Now, the term of the grant agreement indicates all work shall be completed by December 31st, 2026. Time is of the essence to spend that money. We've already charged approximately $2 million to the grant. We've completed the construction of the Blue Ridge tank. We have entered into a contract with Porcus Construction for the Highland tank for an amount not to exceed $1,033,099. The award of the Redwood Park and Echo tanks construction contract is in the amount of $3,524,524, which will complete the expenditure of the grant funds, including the district match. We are proposing a 300-day contract. So if we were able to issue the notice of award tomorrow, the contractor has 10 days to execute the contract. If we can issue the notice of proceed by March 6th, there's exactly 300 calendar days left in the year. So it puts us right up against the deadline to spend the grant money. Now, we only received one bid for this project. However, the engineer's estimate was $3,789,488. So the one bid we received is $264,964 less than the engineer's estimate. In conversations with my peers, I've heard that bids have been coming in over engineers' estimates. And so during the bid process, bidders are asking us, can you provide a budget or engineer's estimate for the project? In conversation with the general manager, we responded that the district has not established a contractor pricing benchmark for this project and is not inclined to disclose any internal cost estimates. Bidders are responsible for conducting their own due diligence and submitting a bid based on their independent assessment of the project scope and site conditions. Bids should not rely on any assumptions regarding the district's internal budget or anticipated project costs. Per project specification, section 00100, instruction to bidders, paragraph IB-02, examination by bidders. At his/her own expense and prior to submitting a bid, each bidder shall A, examine the contract documents, B, visit the site, determine the local conditions which in any way affect the performance of the work, including access to the site, prevailing wages, and other pertaining cost factors. C, familiarize himself/herself with all federal, state, and local laws, ordinances, rules, regulations, and codes affecting the performance of the work, including the cost of permits and licenses required for the work. D, make such surveys, research, and investigations, including consideration of subsurface or latent physical conditions at the site or where work is to be performed as he/she may deem necessary for performance of the work at his/her bid price within the terms of the contract documents. E, determine the character, quality, and quantities of the work to be performed and the materials and equipment to be provided. And F, correlate his/her observations, investigations, and determinations with the requirements of the contract documents. The contract documents show and describe the existing conditions as they are believed to exist, including surveys, investigations, and other data which have been used in the design of the work, except as provided otherwise by law or these contract documents, neither the San Lorenzo Valley Water District nor the engineer shall be liable for any loss sustained by the contractor resulting from any variance between the conditions and design data given in the contract documents and the actual conditions revealed during the bidder's examination or during the progress of the work. The submission of a bid shall be incontrovertible evidence that the bidder has complied with all the requirements of this section. I think this is a strategic move on behalf of the district, because when we put out the engineer's bid, you can almost guarantee bidders are gonna at least come in over that amount. And this was the same situation we had for Highland Tank. The engineer's estimate for that was over, I think it was around 1.1 million. And we got it for almost that price, just under that price. There's also included in the bid a bid alternate. So the bid alternate proposes using wood lagging for some of the retaining walls. Due to the fantastic price that we got, staff is recommending that we proceed with the base bid and install concrete lagging instead of wood lagging, which would require more maintenance, would eventually rot and have to be replaced. Now the price for these two tanks is higher than Highland Tank if you look at a per tank cost. However, these sites have very specific logistical reasons why the price is so much higher. We have to build a series of retaining walls at the Echo Tank site. There's a retaining wall behind the tank, a retaining wall in front of the tank. The ring foundation is founded on 30-inch piles. Access to the Echo Tank site is difficult. We reached out to several of the bidders. We had we made the pre-bid meeting mandatory because I wanted bidders to understand how difficult the access was to our sites. One of the bidders indicated they didn't want to bid the project because of logistics. Another bidder indicated that due to the quick timeline that we have to spend all these funds by December of this year, they have other projects that they're working on and they couldn't meet that timeline. Another bidder said it was too far away and they prefer to bid projects closer to their area. Another bidder said there was not enough time for them. And then we actually did have a second bidder that showed up late. They showed up at 3:05 and the bids were due at 3 o'clock. And we turned them away and said, look, if you can't make it by 3 o'clock, we can't open your bid. And we did not accept their bid. So I think, you know, the $3,524,524 price is a good price, and we should award this contract to Anderson Pacific Engineering Construction as quickly as possible. Without taking questions.
Thank you. Bob, you want to go at it first?
Well, you know, my big focus there was just on the big variance in price between the Highland Tank and these two. I mean, it's like 70%. That's an enormous amount of money on a per tank basis. So I heard what you said about the Echo Tank. And I think that's the one that's up on a hill a little bit. I think we've seen pictures of it before. Is that tank size going to be 120,000 gallons?
Yes, all the tanks are the same size.
And bolted steel.
Yes, sir.
Right. And the pad at the Echo has to be enhanced. Is that what you're saying?
So there's a ring foundation around the perimeter of the tank. Underneath the concrete ring foundation will be 30-inch diameter piles drilled into the rock.
And they have to do that, right?
Yes.
That's not there today.
Correct.
Right. What about the Redwood Park tank? Because that one is actually should be pretty straightforward, very much similar to Highland.
So the Redwood Park tank also includes a pump station. So there is another tank, the spring tank, at a higher elevation at the top of Scenic. So we have the tank, we have the pump station, and then just there is a retaining wall at the Redwood Park site. It's an undeveloped site right now.
Yeah, but it's not a big one.
It's not a big one.
In fact,
But it adds cost.
it's no bigger than the one that you're putting in Highland, right?
Highland is a debris wall, a little different. So that means it's a freestanding wall to intercept any material coming off the slope. The one at Redwood Park is to level the site. So then we'll be backfilling the wall or excavating in front of the wall to level the grade.
I don't know, I still haven't heard something to account for 70% difference though. That's an enormous, and especially since we only got one bidder. I would be happier if we'd gotten two at least.
Well, maybe you'd be happy.
They were 5 minutes late.
The late bidder was over 3.7 million for the second bid that we could not accept.
I don't know. I mean, I get the timing part of it, but I also think that this is one of those things where you actually could get an extension on that if we're making forward progress. And particularly if we're being very, trying to be really responsible about the money that we're spending, the state money that we're spending as well. Because this means we will get 4 tanks out of the original 6.
I would also like to say that the board has approved a budget, and for these 2 tanks, it adds up to 4.6 million. So with the $1 million that we're coming in under the budget, that could fund the Felton Heights tank.
Well, I mean, I'd have to see the cash flow in that because it won't fund it at 1.7 million per tank if that's what we're dealing with once we get out of Highland.
I would also say the longer we wait, the price only goes one way. It gets more expensive.
Maybe.
I agree with Bob's maybe.
I don't know
this
that.
case.
Yeah, in this case, I mean, the differences are stark here. That isn't a couple 100,000. And we also have the potential of some change orders here, which could push it up to 3.7 million already baked in if we were to adopt the motion. I don't know. I'm never comfortable with single bids is my problem. So I appreciate the insights though. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mark?
Sure. How many contractors attended the pre-bid meeting?
Over 20.
20?
Yeah, we had Granite Construction,
Okay,
Gordon Ball.
Standing room only.
you've answered my question. 20 with
Yeah, it was packed.
recognized names
Yes.
at that. Okay. Likewise, I'm generally not comfortable with one bid, but we had 20 at the pre-bid. You did get a late bid. You pointed out, no, we can't accept a late bid. I was told once by a manager of mine working at a community college, if there's a bid that comes in late because we only expected, if that bid comes in late, you stamp it early. And I refused. So I concur with no, we can't accept it if it's late. The fact that it's over anyhow, to me, is some comparative. 20 contractors, a second bid, but the second bid we can't honor, or we can't use that as something as can't award to that.
Correct.
But it's at least a comparative. No, it's not great, but without knowing all the intricacies of the differing site conditions between that tank that Corcus is working on and these tanks, I have to trust staff that there's enough other differing conditions here that if we've already solicited 18 other contractors and you've given reasons why they're not interested in this, yeah, maybe we could get a time extension, but with 20 other contractors, nobody else was.
But most of them were due to the timing issue.
But I understand that it would be pushing it off months. I expect to go through the process again. So, you've addressed my questions. I'm satisfied at this point. So, one other. You mentioned that concrete lagging instead of the wood lagging.
Correct.
You have pricing for that. Because,
Yeah, so the engineer's estimate was $3,789,488 for the total bid.
but
It was
do you
3
have,
million.
do you have the price? Is that price in the contract that you're asking us to approve tonight? Or you're gonna come back for
No.
another 200,000?
No, the price includes the concrete lagging.
Okay,
So if we had accepted the bid alternate, it would have been a cost savings. Staff was concerned the bids could come in at 4 million. And with only 4.6 million in the budget, by
okay,
the time you have any change orders on a $4 million bid,
right.
you could easily start approaching 4.6 million.
Right.
We also have to pay for
Oh.
staff time. We have to pay their engineer. We have to pay
Right.
inspections.
So how much is I guess I cut you off. The concrete wall price is,
Is $3,524,524.
He wants
That,
to
that
know.
includes
that's the
everything. That includes
tanks.
everything. Just
Just
the retaining wall.
Oh,
just the retaining that you're saying,
Just the
you're taking the
lighting? Yeah.
higher,
The concrete versus wood.
yeah, so, okay, so in the Anderson Civic bid, the
Yeah.
concrete lagging was $53,120.
okay.
The wood lagging was 44,000. So it's a $9,120
Not worth it,
savings.
not worth it. Okay, yes, yes.
Bid item 76 was at Echo Tank. Okay.
You've answered the question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a $9,000 savings to go with wood.
Yes.
Which is going to rot.
Yes,
The concrete, okay.
Yeah.
You've answered the question on that, then. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I'm good.
Okay. Just a couple quick questions, Garrett. The spring booster pump station, their numbers, I'm just trying to ballpark the cost of each of the tanks and the pump station. And it's just really weird that these were all handwritten, instead of done on a spreadsheet or something. But it looks like, and I don't know if you know these numbers off the top of your head, but it looks like the spring booster is around $500,000.
that sounds
About right. And it looks like, so each of the tanks are $1.5 million each, something close to that.
Yeah, I don't think they're exactly 50-50. I think the Echo Tank is more costly because of the retaining walls. We actually have some horizontal tiebacks on the retaining wall behind the tank, which is for a taller wall.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
right, for added,
Usually around
Support.
14 feet, you start pinning back the top of the wall.
okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. And then on the stamped Zurich insurance certificate, and maybe I just don't know where to look, but I didn't see what is the liability coverage that they are providing us. I guess I had thought that would be there saying, we're backing these guys up with 5 million or whatever the number is. Did I just not see that in the right place?
I'm scrolling to that. So I can
Yeah.
see here. Refer-
Page 195.
Page 195.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really expected to see it like right there, black and white. Maybe it's in writing and not in numbers, but that's where I would have thought it would be. So it's just because obviously this is a big project and we want to make sure it's covered.
Yeah, so all the insurance requirements are indicated in the specifications. And so usually what I'm used to seeing for the bid is that they have to have a bid bond in case, something goes wrong and they want to withdraw the bond or the bid. There's like a penalty, basically. They can't just.
Page 226 has all the insurance.
226. Okay, thanks. Okay, so just $1 million of liability. Okay, that's our standard number, I guess.
I think on page 226, that's the professional service agreement for the next.
Oh, okay.
It's in the specifications.
Do you recall what it is that we asked for?
I don't recall it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I can look it up though.
if it's easy, yeah, I don't want to hold things up, but insurance is, you never worry about it until something bad happens.
How about page 155?
155?
Okay.
Let's try that.
Looking for general liability. That one's $2 million.
2 million. Okay.
2 million. Yeah, but that's a professional service agreement. It's in this, it's actually in the specifications, all the insurance that they have to have. It's Article 6 of the general conditions. Let's see here.
Okay. Well, I don't want to hold up the board's discussion and our potential vote on this, but I think it might be worth looking into as a general rule for, especially for these larger contracts. Is it possible to get an even bigger liability number? I guess I've become super sensitive on the risk side to things that can go wrong, whether someone's hurt on the site or
Yeah, so the workers' compensation and employer's liability insurance is a limit of no less than $1 million per accident for bodily injury or disease. Public liability and property damage insurance is 5 million. Auto liability insurance, 5 million. Contractors, pollution, legal liability, or asbestos legal liability, and or errors and omissions is 1 million per occurrence and 2 million policy aggregate. We have property insurance. Contractors shall maintain or cause to be maintained until the work is accepted by the district. Builder's risk, all risks, completed value insurance coverage, including earthquake and flood upon the entire work and including completed work, work in progress, and materials and equipment in transit or storage for the work to the full value thereof, and no co-insurance penalty provisions. Contractor may submit evidence of builder's risk insurance in the form of course of construction coverage. Such coverage shall name San Lorenzo Valley Water District as loss payee as their loss may appear. The insurance shall include the interests of San Lorenzo Valley Water District, the contractor, and the subcontractors and the subcontractors in the work. Such insurance may have a deductible clause with a maximum $5,000 deductible unless otherwise stated in the supplementary conditions.
okay. No, I appreciate that. The course of construction, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, so when we
fully insured as it's being built.
Yeah, when we execute so right now, all we're going to do is issue the notice of award. That gives the contractor 10 days to execute the contract, in which he'll provide all the insurance documents as part of the contract.
Gotcha. Okay, good. Okay, and then I saw you wanted to save the poly tanks.
Yes.
What are the size of those? I'm just curious.
I believe they're 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah, so we use those actually at Blue Ridge. And so after we were done constructing Blue Ridge, we took those poly tanks and moved them up to Echo.
Yeah.
And then we were able to dismantle one of the wooden tanks that was up there and install the 2 poly tanks. And we're going to be operating off those poly tanks during the construction process.
Very good.
And then after we're done, we might as well use those again.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, thank you. I had no other questions. Any other?
Alina?
Oh, Alina, so sorry. Lena.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess I'm just kind of echoing what other people had said. I was a little bit worried about the change orders. I think Anderson Pacific kind of has a history of doing that, if I'm not wrong on that. So just kind of worried about that coming up. I don't know. But we got one bid, so is there any option for a time extension on the grant if we come up against that deadline and things, weather or whatnot?
I would think we could probably get a time extension. I mean, with the amount of projects that we're looking to undertake, we want to just get these projects done as fast as possible and not delay things.
Okay. Yeah, and I didn't see any traffic control on there. I assume all of this is off the road and you guys won't need anything of that sort?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know Anderson Pacific has when they were doing the pipeline project, they were messing up the Caltrans start time a lot. So I'm glad that they're off the road on this one. So that's all. I wish we would have gotten some more bids, but you know what? It's good that it came in close to the engineer's estimate, and thank you for all your work on this, Garrett.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Any other follow-on questions, comments?
I just have one. And that is, when I hear that we've gotten ourselves into a timing situation that actually starts driving away potential contractors, it doesn't give me warm and fuzzies. The timing in this is so close, even after you laid it out, Garrett, that anything that goes wrong, and of course, things always go wrong during construction, and we're having to ask for an extension anyway. I want to do these tanks. I think it's important to do the tanks. As people know, I've been talking about tanks for years, but I can't support this particular process with that much of a difference in price. Not without more than one or even two bidders, one of which we can't really talk about anyway because they didn't come in on time. So, yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
And Mark,
The public.
oh, public, okay, you don't have any.
No.
All right, the board's done with that. Any public comments, Scott? No, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Oh, I do have one follow-up after looking at the motion. You're requesting authorization for change order amounts not to exceed 200,000. If it's that, if it's anything over 100, I'd like to have some notification of that, some discussion of that here.
Yeah,
So
I would say if the board feels comfortable with just executing notice of award, we could bring all change orders to the board.
I don't want to work. I'm not of the opinion that we need to see all change orders. But if change orders are over 100, totaling over 100, then we requested this aspect of change after the contractor was out there and after the contractor identified this, because often the change orders that we get from them are from owner requested.
Sure.
Rather than contractor looking at our documents and saying, here are the 6 things that are wrong with your documents. From my perspective, the documents that you've been issuing over the last number of years are fairly good, and it's more field condition that I'm seeing in change orders that cause that to come back. But 200,000, I'd be comfortable making it half of that this evening.
Okay.
All right, you want to
can
move with
That's where I'm gonna go. I just wanted to do that, vet that first, before just making that change.
Any comments from any directors on that change?
Well, he hasn't made the motion yet,
Right.
so no
But-
comments are
On
required.
that proposed
On the
change.
proposed change?
Right. So. Not hearing it. I'll move that the board directs the general manager to execute the notice of award for Redwood Park and Echo Tanks replacement to Anderson Pacific Engineering Construction for the base bid price in a not to exceed of $3,524,524 and authorize the general manager to execute change orders for the construction of Redwood Park and Echo Tanks replacement with Anderson Pacific Construction in an amount not to exceed 100,000.
I'll second.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Foltz.
No,
Motion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Garrett. All right. Okay, Still with Redwood Park and Echo Tanks, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So the matter before the board is a professional services agreement with Mercedes Miller Engineering. This is for construction phase support for the Redwood Park and Echo Tanks construction. As engineer of record, they're intimately familiar with the specifications and plans and requirements in the plans. And they're also responsible and liable for their design. By having them participate in the construction process, they will be reviewing submittals, answering requests for information, reviewing any requests for additional changes and additional money, and helping the district during the construction process. We have a professional service agreement that we included in the packet. Their ask is for an amount not to exceed $127,102. And it's really in our best interest to have the engineer of record participate in the construction process. So with that, I can take any questions you have.
Thank you. Alina, would you like to start?
I think you explained this before, didn't you, about the engineer of record? We went over this once.
We did for Highland.
Okay, that's where I'm remembering about why this was important to have that in there. Okay, I don't really have any questions about that. I recall that conversation, and it seems like a pertinent thing to have a part of this plan. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bob?
I mean, I don't know what engineers are charging on an hourly basis, but this feels like about a full-time person for 6 months. At $127,000, so 6 months would be
Well, I guess.
254,000 full-time for the year. I don't know what engineers bill out at, but that just seems like a lot of money. Particularly if our plans are, as you say, fairly good.
Page 243 of the packet has the billing rates.
And
But that is, I mean, that is an enormous amount of money, is it not, for something with good plans and all that?
Staff plans to limit their time on our projects as much as possible. For instance, we're going to have them participate remotely on the weekly progress meetings. And if we don't need them to participate in the weekly progress meetings, maybe they could participate every other week. And we could limit how much they're billing us on a monthly basis.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems enormous. Which
They originally asked for, I think it was 152,000, and we had a discussion, and I was able to get them down around $25,000. But again, there is some liability associated with their work. Say we build these brand new tanks and it ends up rolling down the hill. We could go to them and say, you're liable
Okay,
for a
so-
bad design.
Well, let's play that out a little bit.
Yeah.
So we go to them and say, you're liable. How much insurance do they carry on something like that? And would us doing that basically just force them to declare bankruptcy and tell us to go pound sand? I mean, I get the point you're trying to make, but unless there's some financial resources behind it that is substantial enough to cover whatever it is that they have problems with or could possibly do, we're really paying a premium here for these services. And are there alternatives to this other than signing ourselves up for effectively what looks, I mean, they only have it listed here, I guess, at $249. I should do some division on it, but yeah, I mean, this is like a lot of money. But, and by the way, do we get immediate service? I mean, if we're having a guy on call basically for 6 months, we
Yeah.
should be getting immediate service.
So part of the way it works is the contractor goes to a supplier and says, I want to get this kind of pipe or this kind of valve. That documents go to the engineer. The engineer looks at it and says, wait a minute, they're supposed to be epoxy coated for the specification. And then those comments go back to the contractor, or maybe he did everything properly and it just gets approved. So yeah, it is immediate. As soon as we get work, we send it to them.
And is that not a determination that that we're able to make, staff is able. to
Yeah, we can provide those services internally, but it would just be one more task that would take us away from other tasks that we're working on. It's kind of convention that the engineer who designs the project also does the submittals, the request for information, the and some of the observations and inspections.
Maybe what we're talking about here is needing to look at the process of doing this, because my concern is once you've hired somebody to do the engineering work, if that is in fact sort of the standard practice, then they can come back with pretty much whatever they want as you negotiate them down. Maybe we need to be going in with RFPs that cover the entire
That's one of my questions.
process
So
because I'm tired of running into these situations where we're paying hundreds of dollars for effectively what sounds to me like a lot of it's clerk work.
I would say, for a professional services agreement, you establish a not to exceed price. And then whether they're using it on design or they're using it in construction, they bill up to that amount. And then they ask for more money at that point. At which point the district has an option to stop work
No, you don't.
and let them go.
I mean, come on, Garrett, you don't have an option to stop work when you're in the middle of it.
But we can.
I think this,
We could stop work on them right now and say we're not going to have them perform these services and we're going to proceed without them.
sure,
But it's risky.
well, this is why the process, I think, needs to be looked at because I think what's happened here is we get ourselves in and then they're basically saying, hey, yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
But the cost of doing that, the switching costs of doing that
Yeah.
is enormous. And who's going to take on the liability for someone else's design? I wouldn't do it if I had a stamp. So we gotta change this because I think we're getting banged on the back end more than we should be. Okay,
Yep, Mark.
I'll follow on with what Bob was saying. I think that these services, because we know you knew ahead of time, a year and a half ago, I feel that you were going to ask for this,
Yes.
right? Okay, so you knew it then. Right now, we're pretty much beholden to MME for this. Yeah, we could, but there's risk
Yes.
for an engineer to do the design works. A good friend of mine that's a principal in an engineering firm made the comment to me, I like to do the designs that they never move forward with because there's no risk in them then.
Yep.
Okay, I understood his perspective in it. So there's risk in when things get built.
Yeah.
So having another engineer firm out there to do this, there's hesitation on their part to do this. But putting together the original bid package, we want you to do engineering services, all the engineering design, pre-bid, the rest of that, plus construction, whatever you're calling this, construction administration.
Yeah.
Okay, then the construction administration services to follow. We don't have to take both from the same firm, but getting it from the same firm up front as comparative between, in this case, it was MME versus Sandon.
Yeah.
If we had had a third in there, having that comparative ties them. And yes, I understand they can come back to you and say, look, we're over on this.
Can we use some of our construction budget to finish the design?
They could ask that, but they're forced to ask that question then.
Yeah.
You have some control over it, but then we have control over this part of it up front. I feel that there's more incentive to the engineering firms. It's a bigger contract up front. They know that up front. And we can get the price for this locked in at the beginning.
I don't know if it's clear that it's locked in per se.
We get a
They give us
number-
an estimate.
they give us an estimate that, yes, you're telling me right now that, well, we could change this. If we see the need through the process to say, we're realizing we need more eyes on the ground out there. We need you out there instead of the 1 day a week that you've proposed, 3 days a week.
Yes,
Yes, this is gonna go up.
yes.
I understand that.
Or if they only are spending, so if you go to page 244.
Yeah.
There's a breakdown of the 127,000.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, so if you go to like item 3 meetings, they have 10
Right.
months of meetings.
Right.
So if we only do 6 months of meetings,
That's not gonna happen. That's never gonna happen.
well,
You're gonna go to 12. You're gonna go to 12 months.
I predict they'll be at 18.
so the meetings only start happening once field work starts.
I
We
agree,
don't have weekly meetings during the
Right.
submittal
Agree.
process.
agree, right.
So
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be out in the field for 10 months. They're
Um,
gonna be out in the field starting June,
okay, so
and they're
there,
gonna be
there is
wrapping
the,
up by October,
right, there is the potential,
4
the,
months.
the likely potential that this is going to change because this is on, this part of the contract is on time and materials.
Yes.
Yes, but getting this up front is what I'm hearing Director Fultz say. I'm advocating for that also, getting it at getting the bid for this at the same time that you're getting the bid for the full engineering design package.
Have we ever done that?
We did that.
Yeah.
We did do that, and we asked them, the bids came in at, I think it was over $700,000.
Mhm.
And we asked them to remove bidding phase support and
Okay.
construction phase support
Okay,
from Sandus's bid and from MME's bid.
so what was,
And that dropped it from 700 to 500,
right, okay,
right?
so we did have that.
We didn't have that, yeah.
And
you
what
can
was
see
that,
that.
and what was that number then?
It wasn't this much. It was a
Okay.
lot less,
Okay, so you're, uh,
but they're not bound to it.
I understand that, but so you did ask for what I'm suggesting
Yeah.
upfront. You pulled that back out to allow us to issue a smaller contract initially for just the engineering services.
Just engineering
You're
services.
coming back now and saying,
They also had construction phase services for South Penn and
Right.
construction phase services for Felton Heights,
right,
which we're not moving forward on at this time.
right, right. Okay, okay. That's one. How much of what they have in here is site inspection work? And we have a construction inspector.
Yes.
What are they doing while this is happening?
So basically what the site inspector does, he goes to the site every day.
Right,
What the engineer is going to do is at certain milestones, he'll come out, like before they pour concrete. He wants to
Okay.
come out, look at the rebar
okay,
before they backfill the wall. While they're drilling the piers, the
Right.
geotech will be in the field
okay.
to observe that.
So it's for specific milestones
Yes.
without the, okay,
Yeah,
all right. Then, yeah, I understand that that's appropriate field visits from engineering staff, which
and
we don't have a geotech on staff.
at the end of the project, they'll write us a letter saying that
Right.
this was
Yeah.
built in conformance with our design intent.
Right.
That's
Okay.
really what we want.
Okay. And this does include record drawings,
Yes.
not a significant $7,000, but yes, we gotta have those also. Okay, that's my questions.
Okay, thank you. I guess this works out to about 3.5%, right, of the 3.5 million that we had just approved. And you had mentioned that you're going to be actively managing them. So if 48 weekly, meetings, they don't need to be at, then maybe it's a reduced number. I don't know.
Yes.
But what do you, well, I did, it wasn't clear to me, the subconsultant S&W, they are,
That's Shap and Wheeler. So they designed the pump station.
Ah,
And then we also have Fair Engineering, they're the electrical engineer. So that's for the power drop and to power the pumps and for the generator backup.
okay. And so they would be coming out to inspect the work for what they had designed, or?
Well, yeah, we'll get submittals for the pumps, we'll get submittals for the generator, so those would go to the engineer that designed those. So if you go through the plans, there's different stamps on different pages.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. Okay.
We directly contracted with the geotech and we directly contracted with the surveyor. In the original bid, those were also subs to the engineer of record. And we basically directly contracted, it saved us 10 grand because they mark it up 10% on their, on their end.
On their pass through.
It's better for us to just directly contract with people rather than have somebody else subcontract.
Right. Okay. Very good. Okay. And I think you had made the comment earlier that we have staff that can do some of this, but not all of it, and it takes away from our ability to be doing other things, and then we don't have the engineer of records with their final stamp.
That would be the consequence if we decided to cut ties with MME and proceed without them.
Without them.
Yeah, which we could do.
Right,
Just as
but
a
chances of
riskier-
getting any new engineer on board is pretty slim.
No, I think staff would do those duties and we would write the letter and, saying that with building conformance with the. It's common for the city and the county that have engineers on staff.
Right.
You can kind of do that internally without having the consultant do that.
Okay. Speaking of accidents or, the tanks rolling off the hillside,
Yeah.
would we have asked MME for the same general liability and E&O insurance limits for their professional services work? Do you?
As the construction?
Well, for their design services, and then they're being the engineer of record.
No, I think the construction is a lot riskier, so there's more insurance requirements for construction. As far as engineering design, I think it's 2 million, and that was on page 226. Yeah, was that,
Okay.
was it 226? 55, 255.
255. Okay. Oh, right, for the professional services agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's on page 257. General liability is 2 million. Workers' comp is 1 million per accident, 1 million policy limit for bodily injury by disease, and 1 million limit for each employee bodily injury. Errors and omissions liabilities 2 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commercial automobile liability 1 million.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so if they've really blown the design or something like that, or didn't do their inspections properly, then we would presume that would probably be covered under E&O.
yeah, and I think my understanding is they're liable for the design for like 7 years.
Oh, is that right?
That's my understanding.
Okay. All
They
right.
can lose their license if something bad happens.
Okay. Okay.
But when they design these things, the rings on 30-inch piles, this thing's not going anywhere.
Right.
They over design things because of the liability.
Right. Yeah, and I'm sure they did, as they should.
Right.
But there's always an earthquake that'll match any design that you could throw at it, right? So, there's always something out there, but hopefully that's not in the cards anytime soon. Okay. Thank you, Garrett.
Yeah.
Any other questions from directors?
Well, Lena, right? Or did she go on?
Oh,
She went
Elena?
on.
No, she led off.
She did.
Yeah, she led off. Any public comments, Scott? No. Okay. Well, I think let's put this to a motion,
Okay,
and
I can read it if you want.
yeah, all right, would you?
I'll make the motion that the board directs the interim general manager to execute a professional services agreement with Missidi Miller Engineering for construction support of the Redwood Park and Echo tanks in an amount not to exceed $127,102 and authorizes the general manager to execute non-substantive modifications as necessary.
I'll second.
May I make one small correction?
Sure.
Eliminate the word interim from the motion.
Oh,
Oh, that wasn't there. I don't know why I put that in.
Yeah, it was there,
Oh, it is at the beginning. It's not,
and you read it.
and I read it as written.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, please make that change to make that change to your
Yes.
memo format.
okay.
Thank you.
And if you could take a vote.
President Russ,
Yes.
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
and Director Foltz.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
All right. Thank you. All right. Looks like our final item. Oh. Chris, you're up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the ecological concerns contract amendment. And so essentially the background on this, we completed all of the work originally scoped in the grant, which was we were supposed to complete 37 sites. We completed 45 sites with the money, which was 171,000. And I thought that the work went really well. There's now an additional 34,000 that is available to us to do work. And so, but there's a tight time, essentially, is the kicker. So all the
Are you learning from Garrett?
Yeah, so all the work needs to be complete and invoiced by March 15th. And
Wow.
so essentially what's happened is I've been in contact with CAL FIRE, who the grant is through, to make sure this kind of gets approved. We do not have the final green light yet. I will note that, but they seem to be happy moving forward with it. I don't have the final green light. And I've also talked to our contractors, and they are on board with it and have it on their schedule, so that we can get the work done before that deadline. And the new work that we would be completing would consist of clearing our Beaver or Acorn access road to the Peavine pipeline, clearing the Peavine pipeline, and also removing hazard trees near the Lion Water Treatment Plant and near the big steel tank and pump house. We originally contacted Ecological Concerns, who was our contractor on the original grant work, to do the entire job. But which is kind of why the original contract amendment that you see in the packet is just for ecological concerns. However, we since learned from them that they don't feel comfortable or they don't have the skill set to do some of the more advanced hazard tree removal, because some of it requires climbing, using ropes to leverage the tree as you cut them down, and that's just not within their skill set. And so our proposal is that we would split the money again between Powers Forestry and Ecological Concerns. And so essentially we would like to move forward with out of that $34,000 total, we would provide $9,000 contract amendment for Powers Forestry, and that would bring that contract up to 80,000. And then we would provide 25,000 in change for Ecological Concerns, which would bring their contract to about 125,000. As I noted, this is not fully green lighted with CAL FIRE, the grantor. So if this is approved tonight and then they end up not giving us the green light, the project would not happen. This is fully grant funded work. And so essentially it's free work to us if we do end up getting the green. With that, I will take any questions.
All right, thank you. Mark?
I appreciate what's in the memo and what I heard you explain. I don't have any further questions on this. So,
Okay.
I'm good.
Bob?
No.
No? Alina, any questions?
No, I'm just glad we're getting more work, done. We got more sites done than what were planned, and then we're possibility of getting some more money. I think, this field reduction is really important. So thanks for staying on top of this, Chris, and coming up with some creative solutions. Since they didn't feel comfortable with all this work, I think that's a really great plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. I'm curious, how did the extra 34,000 come about? I mean, it's like just,
Yeah, so the grant is not a direct grant to us. We're a sub grantee of the Fire Safe Council of Santa Cruz County, and they ended up not spending all of the grant money. However, this particular 34,000 is already, it was like budgeted within our project just for the Fire Safe Council to kind of have a portion of it to kind of get manager costs paid, but they ended up not needing that. And so essentially, we should be able to use this grant money without needing a grant amendment, which at this late stage we would not be able to get. So we've known that there was potentially money there for like months now, and we've been trying to, get the Fire Safe Council to let us know.
Let it go.
But it came real late, but hopefully we can still make use of it.
All right. And the two contractors are fine with this timeline?
Yeah.
Give them more money.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's great. Any comments from the public? No, okay.
I do want to comment. Good job on staying on top of it. We've known for several months there's the potential of there, so we've stayed in touch with them to continue asking that question. Good.
Yeah, we'll jump through hoops for 34,000. No, that's great. Okay, and I guess we should make the motion, but including your amendment, right?
Did he hand something out?
It's just
It was
so that
in
you
the,
can read motion.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't need like 1,000.
What is
that?
He gave this to,
Right.
Jason already had it, and yeah.
So this is a revised motion.
Yes,
Revised
so
motion.
I'm not going to read what's in front of me.
no.
Yeah,
So you've given President Russ what.
yeah, let me
what
take a
should
crack
be
at
read.
it. Right.
No,
Can I go ahead? and
Go
read
ahead.
it?
Oh, sure, go for it.
It's not in what you have.
It's not in.
Right, no, I was gonna modify it on the
Oh,
fly,
okay.
but yeah, if Bob wants to do that, that'd be great.
I move that the board directs the general manager to enter into a contract amendment with Ecological Concerns Incorporated for $34,448 for hazard fuel reduction work, increasing the not to exceed contract amount from $99,455 to $133,903.
Yeah, that's the wrong amount.
Director Holtz, I
$125,000.
He handed you the.
I
No,
messed up.
that's, yeah, you actually had the old number.
Again?
Yeah, you need to
So-
actually,
125.
It should be $9,000, and then it should be 25,448.
25,448,
Or
and we're taking that away from the 134, or no, yeah,
Okay, from $99,455 to $125,488.
it should be 124,903.
124,903. And contract amendment with Powers Forestry for $9,000 for hazard fuel reduction work, increasing the not to exceed contract amount from $71,670 to $80,670.
Yeah.
Both, and I'm adding, both contracts will be executed upon receipt of grant money.
or approval of grant money.
So approval of grant money. I want to make sure that we're not getting into a contract with these guys that we can't, that we have to fund ourselves.
Yeah.
So approval is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got that, lady? You wanna maybe read it back to us?
No, that's
Is that good? You're good? Okay, great.
I'll second that motion.
President Russ,
Yes,
Vice President Lane,
Yes.
Director Smalley,
Yes.
Director Foltz.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
Thank you. Okay. Guess we have a consent agenda item, the board minutes from the previous meeting. Or any directors have any comments on those or edits? I did not.
No.
Okay, hearing none. Guess that's accepted. And then we have also got district reports from Sherry for December. Did any director want to spend some time? Yes, Bob.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
So thank you for breaking out the reserves from the policy reserves, so unrestricted versus reserve. So that's really great because now we can see clearly what we can touch and what we can't touch. Though obviously, I think the 3 million that is in the emergency capital fund will be depleted regularly, but hopefully not. I did have a question about the money that we hold in Wells Fargo checking. Is that 2 million sort of a number that reflects what we normally hold with Wells Fargo?
So I can't say historically what we've held. When I started, we had about, I want to say 3.3 in Wells Fargo. And so I decided to go ahead and just reduce it down to 2 because I know we don't need to keep that much in our checking account.
Bingo.
So we moved that over to the Santa Cruz County Fund. And then while I was getting everything set up with our LAIF account, I just kept it at 2. And now I'm doing kind of a cash flow analysis to see what we need. I used 2 because that's what I used at the city of Ridgecrest. But now I'm thinking probably closer to 1, maybe 1.2 at the very most. And then the rest of it, I'm going to start putting into LAIF so that we can kind of diversify a little bit and have some in LAIF and some in the Santa Cruz County. So that's my plan.
Yeah, I was also reading about something called public funds interest checking accounts. Apparently there are banks that offer that. Wells Fargo may not. I have no particular loyalty to Wells Fargo. If they're not willing to offer interest on a checking account, let's find somebody that does. Even if it's 1 or 2%, it's still better than 0, which is what they're offering us right now.
Yeah, so I just did some research on that today, and it wasn't something I had really known about, to be quite honest. So I'm actually going to a conference next week, and I'm hoping to be able to talk to some people and see if maybe we can get an RFP out for banking services, if that's the route that we want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why banks don't want to offer, and I'm really glad you're reducing the amount. And if we can reduce it further, that's really big time.
Based on cash flow.
Yeah.
We don't need that there.
Yeah, absolutely. But if we can get interest on our checking, that would be great. I did a search on it, and there were, I mean, I don't know how many are in California or can operate in California, but it came back with an enormous number of hits. And the interest rates seem to range from, like 0.5% to 2%, something like that. So, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
I also, that number also caught my eye, Jerry, because I'm thinking, 4% times 2 million, that's 80,000 a year. That's a lot of money, right? And so, yeah, I was going to ask if if that number could be reduced, and if you're looking at cash flows and kind of what margins might we need in any given month. I'm glad to hear that that's on the agenda there. So that's good. Thank you. Any other comments from directors? Alina, you're good?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then I guess we have no written communication.
Any public comment?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. No public. Okay. Very quiet evening. Thank you, Scott. And so no written communications and no additional informational material. Then I guess we can move to adjournment. Great.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gage. Thanks, Gage.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.